Greetings, children of the screen, your friendly neighborhood nerd scum here once again, and welcome to the first ever episode of my new series entitled Nerd Needs. Now I know what you're saying, nerd scum, what are nerd needs? Well, let me tell you guys, all of us out there in nerddom, deep down inside of our nerd souls, there's a little voice that cries out to us just for things that we need, things that we know will most likely never happen, but nevertheless, there are things in pop culture that we just need. And this is the show where I basically take those nerd needs of mine from deep down inside my nerd soul and I share them with you, the children of the screen. And on this first episode, we're going to be talking about something very special to me, very near and dear to my heart. And if you've been watching the channel for a while, you probably know that I absolutely love The CROW. The original graphic novel, the movies, the comics, the novels, I love the whole franchise. And for my number one nerd need, for my number one episode of Nerd Needs, I'm going to be discussing my ultimate nerd need, which is for the CROW comic book franchise to get a shot in the arm. But first off, guys, I want to send a shout out to Sci-Fi Factory Burleson, my local comic book shop, and where I'm filming today. Sci-Fi Factory Burleson is awesome. They've got comic books, collectibles, games, just anything your nerd soul could want. And if you live in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area, definitely check them out. They've got 4 other locations, and they're absolutely awesome. I can't recommend it enough. But let's go ahead and dive into the matter at hand. So as I said, guys, I love the CROW franchise. If you'd like to know a little bit more about the beginnings of the CROW franchise, you can check out my video on the original CROW graphic novel that I made early on in the channel's career, so please forgive some of the glitchiness in the video. But anyway, today we're going to be talking about my need, my nerd need from deep down inside to give the CROW comic book franchise a shot in the arm, as I would say, to kind of give it a refresh. Not necessarily a reboot, but just to bring it back into the public consciousness. Because the truth of the matter is, there have been many installments in the CROW comic book franchise that have been coming out over the last few years. However, not many people have known about it. In fact, right now, currently, the CROW Memento Mori has been coming out. And every week, almost, I have someone come into the store and pick this up off the shelf and go, holy crap, there's a new CROW book? And I'm like, yeah, there's totally a new CROW book. Not to mention here recently, the CROW Rebirth, the last trade edition of the last CROW story put out came out. And now both of these books have their failings as well as their successes. They both have extremely creative, talented teams working on the books who are trying to tell very unique stories within the CROW mythos. But the bigger problem is just that people don't even know these books exist. So the books haven't been selling very well, and they haven't been getting a lot of good reviews, mostly because people don't know they should be reading it. And this is one of the main problems. So my approach to my first nerd need of revitalizing the CROW franchise is to put a creative team on it that's not only good, but that people will know, that will get people's attention, that will make people go, oh crap, this is a big deal. Alright guys, so first off, what you want to do is get an artist that's going to make people immediately take hold. Someone who's been established within the mainstream comic book industry for a while, but has a very kind of niche style to a certain extent. So for the artist on this book, it should be a no-brainer. I'm going to be going with Greg Capullo. Now Capullo first made waves on Quasar, and then on X-Force, and then really came into the comic book consciousness whenever he was working on Spawn, where a lot of people will argue that he arguably drew that book better than Todd McFarlane, the creator, ever did. And not long after that, he was put onto Batman under Scott Snyder's run. Now, obviously, Batman for him was just an automatic no-brainer. After drawing Spawn for so long, it's some of the best-looking Batman that we've ever had. Now, I think that those same skills that he learned through both of those and developed would be applicable to the CROW franchise. You get lots of alleyways, you get lots of noir settings, you get lots of kind of creepy things that he can draw, and extreme violence, and just stuff that, in his own words, would be totally frickin' metal. I don't know if he would say frickin'. Trying to keep it PG for this one, guys. Other than the fact that Capullo would just create a beautiful, beautiful book, I also think he'd be amazing on this book because here recently, especially with the success of Dark Knight's Metal, Capullo's name is in the public consciousness more than ever. Now, if the people who own the rights to the CROW franchise right now would put the money towards Capullo, he would give them something beautiful, something remarkable, something memorable, something that would give this franchise everything that it needs while also just absolutely being in perfect sync with the style of the universe. So yeah, guys, Greg Capullo is the only artist I can think of who can just perfectly encapsulate everything that this franchise represents in visual form and give it the revitalization that it needs. So then we're going to move on into the writer. And I know that this one's going to sound like it might be a little bit out of place, but bear with me for a moment. For the writer of this book, I would choose Tom King. Now, as I said, I know that Tom King is not necessarily the choice that people would immediately go to, but Tom King has done a lot of really good work, and I think that what you'll find if you go through the things that he's written, in particular, A Once Crowded Sky, his run on Vision, his run on Grayson, and his run on Batman, not to mention his freaking amazing work in Mr. Miracle he's been putting in. I mean, hell guys, even if you just look at Tom King's Swamp Thing special that he did earlier this year, or look at his story that he did for Action Comics 1 Million. A lot of his best stories are stories that deal with loss and regret and pain and this idea of a character who has been so damaged and so far removed from their humanity, but they have like this one tether and it's them fighting to maintain that tether to humanity. And I think that using that kind of story, like that's his story, that's his tone, that's his theme that he plays with in almost every book he writes. So if you take that and you let him extrapolate those themes in the CROW franchise, I think you'll come out with something really special and really unique and really interesting. I mean, again, I know he's not like the most obvious choice for it, and he hasn't actually done anything that directly would relate to the CROW, but I think it's something where not only could he do what he does best, but he can really stretch his legs and play at a different kind of storytelling. Because as we saw through the Swamp Thing special that he did, he really used his same kind of motifs and themes, but because Swamp Thing's a character very different than the characters he usually handles, he was able to do some really interesting and unique stuff with that character. Mind you, Tom King's Batman is very hit or miss for me. In fact, I got a whole video that's going to be coming out about that right around the time of the Batman-Catwoman wedding, so look out for that. So as you can imagine, guys, with this being my #1 nerd need, I really have put a lot of thought into it. Like, there are way more obvious people and way more kind of like edgy, edgelord kind of writers who do really extreme, crazy stuff that I thought about. But at the end of the day, like I said, what I want is something that is crafted with care and with precision to both do something unique and different, but also really exemplify and exude all the aspects that make the CROW franchise absolutely fantastic. And I feel that both would do that absolutely perfectly. Right on, guys, so we've got our artist and we've got our writer. And again, I know that those aren't the two most obvious choices, but for the reasons I laid out, I think they would work really well. Now, the other thing that you're going to need, that any comic book that's going to get public's attention, what you need, what are the people going to see first? From the book. They're going to see either the publicities or the covers for the book. So what you want is a really strong cover artist. And again, a cover artist who has a name that when they announce he's doing the covers, people will be like, holy crap, I would buy that just for the cover. So again, it costs you a little bit more, well worth it. Get Jacques. Get Jacques to do your frickin' covers, because holy hell, his artwork is perfect for encapsulating the kind of creepy beauty that the CROW is known for. And again, people who have no idea what the CROW is, if you say you've got Jacques doing covers, you've got Tom King doing the story, and you've got Greg Capullo doing the art, people are going to come out and buy that book in droves. It's going to be worth every penny that you sink into it. I swear, there is a rabid fan base for the CROW franchise, and for good reason. It's because it deals with themes and concepts that, despite in their interpretations have been very edgy in places and very emo in places, are things that we can all relate to. So if you put a well-known team and a good publicity campaign behind it, you could make a CROW book that would reignite your franchise. Mind you, you would have to maintain this kind of quality, but getting off the ground is the most important thing, because nowadays people don't know that the CROW book is coming out, or they don't care. Because most of the people out there have just seen the movies, and the movies gradually got worse, so they assume the same things of everything else in the franchise. Now mind you, I don't think that any of the CROW books that have come out are as good as James O'Barr's original book, his original graphic novel. That's my favorite, it always will be. But that's not to say that there can't be other good stories in this franchise, and I think that by putting this team, or a team like this, on one of your books, you could give it everything that it needs to be great again, to be amazing again, to be a franchise that not only gives something to the core fan base, but also brings in a new audience and gives you places to go in the future. The CROW franchise is one of beauty and hideousness, poetic craft and brute force. At its best, it represents the essence of human duality held in such perfect balance that it can highlight each without diminishing the importance of either. It deserves to be known and respected for the potential of storytelling that it has, as well as for the real-life artists who have given their blood, sweat, tears, souls, and even lives for this franchise. And that is what I want more than anything. That is my #1 nerd need. Right on, children of the screen. Thank you very much for joining me in this first episode of Nerd Needs. I really hope you'll come back for the rest. Let me know down in the comments what you thought about this episode. I'm going to be rolling out the next couple in a slightly faster manner than they'll normally be coming out to give you guys an idea of what to expect from it and so that you can give me some feedback. So definitely let me know down in the comments. And if you did like this video, please leave a like and share it with some friends. That's more important now than ever with everything that YouTube has been changing up on small YouTubers like myself. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit that little bell so you can get updates on all the dope content I'll have coming out in the future. Furthermore, guys, if you'd like to follow me on Instagram or Twitter, I'll have the link for that in the description below. Once again, thank you very much, children of the screen. I hope you all have a good one. Nerd Scum, out.